Hi. I don't know who's watching. Let's get Xavier on here. Let's see. How's everybody doing? I've never done this. We're very excited today, you guys. We're launching our new t-shirt line. New designs.
Hey,
Hi.
hiya.
How are you?
I'm so good. It's so good to see your face.
You too. Um, I've been very excited to talk to you.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Are
so
you?
excited about this project.
Me too. Are you in Austin?
I am, yes. I am quarantined in Austin right now.
We saw each other, I feel like it was a week before everything shut down because you were out in LA doing your show.
Yeah, that was the last bit of travel that I got under my belt before all this happened. I felt grateful to be out there for that for sure. And see my family that was there.
I know
So
your
that
whole
was
family
cool.
was there that night. Really cute.
Yeah, super cute.
So did your show, did it stay up?
Yeah, so they were able to keep it open for I think maybe about 2 weeks for appointment only, and then they moved to a virtual tour, which was really cool. I mean, I feel grateful for that as well that I was able to see so many exhibitions during this time because galleries were really generous about sharing them online. So I did a lot of art fair walkthroughs and gallery walkthroughs that were really cool.
That's what,
Um,
I had a
yeah.
plan to do that and I haven't done it yet. I was like, that
Yeah.
sounds really fun.
Yeah,
Um,
it is. They are archiving a lot of stuff though, so that's also awesome. So you can see, if you ever get to that point, you can see stuff from a
right.
couple months back.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I didn't
Hmm.
miss
No.
it. So you know, I'm a huge fan of yours. I always have been. And
Same.
you actually, when I found out about you, I had to contact you. I got your number through a friend. I think it was Bobby John, maybe. Um,
Probably. Sounds about right.
and I love your art so much. And my old band, Her, was looking for an artist to do something for our cover. And I was like, I think I know the person.
Yep.
And you did our album cover.
Yeah, that was awesome. I always love working with musicians because it's inspiring. Music is a big part of my practice and my process. So anytime I can collaborate with a band, it's always a lot of fun. And you all let me, if I remember correctly, pretty much have a lot of freedom with the design, which is also great. Doesn't
Yeah, I
always
think we were
happen.
just like, we want naked girls. And you go
Yeah.
with, run with
I was like, I can do that.
it. No.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
um, so today is a very big day for us. The t-shirt line that I started last year called Vintage Gay. Um, we want to do collaborations with artists. So of course you were like number one top pick. And
Hmm.
so today we're launching the Pride shirts, which you've
Correct.
designed. So I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to walk through the designs and ask you, you know, ask you about them, like what they mean to you and how you came up with them. And I love them so much.
Yeah. So I actually was on a call when I was in LA about the design, and feeling definitely pretty high from having a show that I just finished, and um, just being with friends and family and having that unity, and really looking forward to Pride because this was before everything happened. And it's always hard to kind of harness that power of what pride means to you, or like, because everyone has a different interpretation and everyone experiences pride differently. And so I wanted the designs to be something that everyone could relate to. I wanted them to make people feel empowered when they were wearing them. And also, I feel like queer language is really important, and wearing a symbol of your queerness is also really important so that you can sometimes identify each other, or even if you have a
I can't tell, but I knew from the t-shirt.
right, or just like it's like the secret language that, and imagery is really important, symbolism is really important to queer culture. I think having that visual um, form of empowerment, because we don't always, I feel like in fashion, especially if you're non-binary, you fall somewhere in between. You don't always have something that fits you, or feels like it's yours. So I think, and I know that's a message to a Vintage Gay, is making sure that everyone feels represented. So that was really it. Was I was thinking about inclusivity and conveying a message of love and understanding and just compassion through design. So that was the main objective, I guess.
You nailed it.
But thanks. Yeah,
Well,
I'm excited with it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
your art, it always explores, I mean, to me, I'm not explaining your art by any means, but I it explores gender roles, sexuality, identity. Um, I've been curious how transitioning affected your art. I've always wondered that.
Um, I feel like just because my work is really emotional and it's very narrative in a lot of ways. I think as I was changing, as my mind was kind of working through everything, my work was affected by my mental state. Um, and just the more I became confident with that change, I think the more my work reflected that confidence as well. Um, and it's something that it's such a unique experience. I mean,
Mhm.
I feel like there's so many days where I forget that I have this, like I have all of these thoughts bumping around in my brain, and it feels so normal. I mean, it is normal, but it's also kind of nuts, and like I'll look at old photos of myself or just have memories from before I transitioned, and it's really wild just to have that experience. And I think that it has made my art what it is. Um,
So
one couldn't really,
do you literally see a change in your art when you look back on previous work?
yeah, I think it's more, I mean, obviously the hope is that you get better over
Right.
time. So I definitely feel more confident about my work now, but I also look at old works and I feel like even the album cover, for example, and I just love it. I mean, I love the way that it's like loving yourself, through evolution and through change, and that I think that I always will have a visual sort of map of my journey because of it. I mean,
I
and
love that
maybe,
so much. I
yeah,
understand what you're saying about the confidence in your art. I
but
could probably attribute that to my life a little bit. Just, coming out of the closet and becoming who I really am and all those things. And I feel like as that was happening in my life, things were falling into place more easily. And
right,
um, my art seemed to come, when I say art, I mean like acting or music or whatever, but
right.
any sort of creative outlet became more natural.
Yeah, and I think also essential for a lot of folks, a lot of my peers and who've inspired me, are just really honest about that journey that they've been on. And, I think it's really important to be proud of yourself. And that's like another thing that is a part of what I wanted to sort of impart with this design, is that, and also the message of Vintage Gay being that we're honoring the path that was laid down for all of us. Is that it's also you're also paving a way. You're paving a way for yourself and hopefully inspiring others while you're doing it. And I think it's always important to keep pushing forward. I
I do
feel
too.
like,
That's the hope, right? I mean,
right,
we're
yeah,
leaning on everyone who fought for everything we have today. We lean on them, and we also have to be responsible to help keep
right.
pushing everything forward. You know,
Yeah, and I mean, even like I was just talking to a friend of mine last night about the L Word and when it came on, and how there was really nothing like it,
right?
and and definitely not on a major network.
Right.
And it was just crazy to see, like whether or not, that was kind of, it was at a point in my life where I was definitely, I wasn't really fitting into any sort of queer scene, and I wasn't really sure about my feelings of like wanting to transition. But I still just remember watching that show, and for an hour, it was like I didn't really care about anything else. It just, you know, and it was really important. It's important to have those mental breaks, and you know, that was a groundbreaking show. It
I
was.
love,
I mean,
thanks
you
for
can't.
saying that. Yeah, I mean, it did the same for me just being on the other side of the TV, but to be a part of something that was so groundbreaking at the time was like, it honestly changed my life in a split second.
I was gonna say it must have changed your life so quick because it became
So quick.
so
Yeah.
insane.
I was, I had studied acting, but I was, in a band and struggling at that point and just
Yeah,
took a risk and went on an audition, and the rest is
it's
history
crazy.
pretty much.
I think that's
Yeah.
really, but I think that's really cool because you never know what your big break is going to be. Like, you never, I think that's also really important for me as an artist to work with people and brands that, you know, I identify with because,
I'm sure.
and sometimes it's like, okay, the money's not there, or, you know, or it's a really fast timeline, and it's like a struggle. But I feel like if you believe in the person that you're working with and that and the message, then, you know, you gotta have like at least 2 out of 3. Do you believe in it? Does it pay well, or is it gonna lead to something else? It's like
I like your two
sometimes
out
the
of
money.
three rule. That's good.
What's that?
Your 2 out of 3 rule. I like
Yeah, I mean,
it.
it's just like, you never know. And then you should also like impart kindness and be professional, even if you don't want to do something. That's just my little bit of advice. But yeah, I mean, you just never know. And I mean, I hope that everybody, wear like gets a shirt, not because of the success of, I mean, obviously I want the brand to be successful, but I also want the person wearing it to be successful and feel good.
I
So
love that.
that's,
That's so great because you're making it more of an individual thing instead of this huge movement we're trying to make with these t-shirts. It's not really about that. It's just about people feeling like they're wearing something that represents, love and acceptance and
mm,
um, pride, and also thanking people before us. And that's kind of the whole message. But as like each person wears it, like I get excited to wear them. I'm
right. Yeah.
I'm really excited to wear Tender Gender. That's my one of my favorite. I love that so much. Are you
Yeah.
so? So your last show was in LA. The one I saw was focused on
Mm,
joy, and then your
yes.
your next show is about tenderness. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I've been sort of, I had a show here in Austin before the one in LA, just to back up a little bit, over a year ago. And that show was based on desire, and then joy, and now tenderness. And it's all with like a trans masculine lens, like me critiquing those things and how they exist or don't exist within masculinity. And tenderness is something that I think I've just always been really curious about because it's something that could be so subtle, but like so sweet. And I remember I always think about the Otis Redding song "Try a Little Tenderness" and just the lyrics of it, and him seeing a woman or a person, kind of breaking down a little bit and just doing something really small to turn it all around. And I think tenderness is something also that's just missing from masculinity in general.
Interesting.
Um,
Why?
I think that it's sometimes viewed as like weak behavior. It's not like a strong. I don't believe this, but I think that by and large, it's something that men maybe don't feel comfortable expressing. It's like kind of ties into sadness a little bit in that way. Um, but it's also something that can be really obscure. That's like the cool part is like there are a ton of ways to be tender, you know, without people knowing, if you're worried about your male ego, you know, if you're worried about being, you know, vulnerable, I guess is the other part of it. Um, and so, yeah, the upcoming show, I've been working on, I've been watching a lot of video of dancers and basically like freeze framing aspects of it and making paintings so that dancer is dancing with himself. Like, oh, they're just repeated over and over again. So they're these like overlapped bodies that are basically like mirroring my idea of tiny moments of tenderness. So I know
I
it's like
love
a,
that so much.
I don't know if that makes any sense. I've been thinking about it so much that I'm like, I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but it's basically the idea is that you should also be tender to yourself, right? Like you should
Always.
forgive yourself, and you should be grateful for yourself. And there are so many ways that you can do that every day. I mean, I feel like a huge one for me is making breakfast for myself. Like it's super small, super easy, but it makes me feel really
Self-love,
good.
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, and especially during, you know, all of this, I think it's really important to take, you know, pleasure in the small things and to also refocus on. I mean, I've done a ton of things during this time that I have been wanting to do, and I feel grateful for that, for myself for doing it. Not that, I mean, everyone should just do what they need to do, but um, I've basically been I've been living at the hotel where my wife works because it's a really small staff and that's what we've been doing. So I moved my entire studio here. Um, and I'm grateful for the space. The outdoor space is huge, and I'm grateful for the staff. And I've
is
seen
that
so
where the
many,
bird is?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a ton of,
Yeah,
there's a ton of, there's a ton of them out here. I mean, and that's the other thing. It's like such
it's
a
amazing.
beautiful place to be. The birds are like, I mean, popping right now. Every
Yeah,
every
I have
day.
like it's trash pickup day, so I have trash trucks in my background.
Oh no.
I have birds. Um,
But
do
yeah,
you, do you
so
feel
I'm
like
working
you've
on
been
that.
really prolific in this time? Because I find that to be true with you in general. You're always just pumping out stuff, and I'm like, how do you do it? I mean,
Yeah,
we've talked a little bit how I like to paint as a hobby, and
yeah.
it's
And your paintings are really cool.
I just like doing it. For me, it's just the
Yeah.
process of it is fun.
Well, that's important. I think that's what the most important thing is.
How did you start, by the way? Did you
Well, I think I
were you
always
trained? I mean, did you go to
I
school or you
I
just
did go to, yeah, I went to art school, and my parents were always really good about, I was kind of like an overactive child. So my parents were always figuring out ways to keep me busy.
hmm
I think was most of most of how I started. My my parents both were really good also about, we lived in like a really small apartment when I was really young, and my dad got this like plastic sheeting and just put it up on the floor and on the wall and was just like, all right, go work, go keep your basically go keep yourself busy for the next however long. And
I
I
love
was always
that.
really into it, and I was really good about keeping myself busy. And then I think, you know, I played a lot of sports, and so I kind of started. I didn't really care about the art aspect, but I was always drawing. I remember that. And then stuff just shifted for me in high school, and I found out that there was art school for college and that I didn't have to take math
I'm
there.
with you.
So
I
I
was
was like,
there's an acting school. Okay, how do I get
yeah,
there?
I was like, wait, so I can go to this school and not have to take any more like math or science?
Yes,
Sign me up.
sign me up.
Um, yeah, and then I worked really hard my last 2 years of high school and went to portfolio day, kind of just not really knowing. Um, and it's scary. You walk
What's
in with like,
portfolio day? I don't even know what that is.
um, okay, so I don't even know if they do this anymore anymore. I mean, I think they must, right? But I don't know. Well, when I applied to art school, you got to get all of your work photographed, right? And then printed into slides. And the slides had to be super high quality. This was like before digital anything. And
It sounds
then,
so hard. Like you had to go to Kinko's and like,
yeah, you had to go to like, I remember it was like 1 hour photo, it was like specialty or
mm,
like precision or some, I don't know, like some
uh-huh.
special, it was like a special and expensive
Yeah,
things.
I'm sure.
We didn't have like a ton of money growing up. So we're like, all right. And then also, art school is so expensive. My parents were like, yeah, you need a backup plan. And you also need to start applying for scholarships because this is not, I'm like, I didn't even get in yet, guys. I don't
Right.
know.
You just hung the plastic, Dad.
Yeah. So it's portfolio days when you basically take your work and you take your slides and you can actually take some original work as well. And you just stand there in front of people while they watch your slideshow and then go
Oh
through your
my God.
entire portfolio and you don't breathe for like 10 minutes. And
Do they
then
critique it out loud or something awful
they'll
like
tell
that?
you.
Uh,
They'll tell you. And then you go home and you
right.
wait and you wait.
Like an
I think it
audition.
was, yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm sure you can relate.
Hmm.
You wait, and everyone has like kind of a poker face. They'll tell you a couple of things, but or they'll tell you stuff that you need to work on, or stuff that you should have brought in the first place. They're like, if you're gonna go to another one of these, don't bring this drawing of your dog. And you're like, oh, okay. Thought that
Wow.
was like my best drawing.
Right.
Yeah, so it is kind of daunting, and but yeah, so I got in and I got into both of the schools that I wanted to, and I worked really hard there too because I wasn't, a lot of those kids were trained and they went to like art high schools and, you know, arts, they went to summer college and I just showed up
Oh, lucky
like,
them.
I know, I was like, here I am, guys. And I just remember like my first critiques were so brutal and it's really hard. It was really hard to hear. Um, but I mean, now I feel like I'm set up for
Look at you now.
success.
I mean, hilarious. Whoever told you about the dog painting. Bye.
Yeah, they were like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, wait, what? I was totally sure. I thought, no, never mind.
Right.
Um, and yeah, but it's all, I mean, I think all of that is, you know, they're all really good lessons to learn. And hearing no is really important because you're going to hear no a lot.
Yeah.
That's, and I mean, sure, you know, I mean, I
I
don't
know.
know who would tell you no,
Trust me,
but
I know. The word no. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've
yeah,
had
but
years of that.
that's how I kind of got into it. Just, I mean, slowly it was just a lot of learning and, just a lot of really, really late nights. And I went to school with some really insanely talented people. It's one of the best art schools in the world. So it's like people are not, they're not playing. I'll tell you
Right.
that. And but yeah,
How
I feel
great to
really
be
lucky.
surrounded by that as well, right? So inspiring.
Oh, it's so inspiring. I mean, there are so many days where I wish that I was back in school. And then the next day I'm
Really?
like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
You know, and obviously I could go back to school. And I have thought about it, but I just don't know where I would go. I don't have like a, I guess I don't have enough of a focus
Like
to pay that
a
money.
clear meaning, like a, yeah,
Yeah.
why you would want to go, right?
I mean, residencies are something that I was looking into before the stay at home quarantine, and was looking at a lot of queer residencies because I do feel like it would be an interesting experience to go back to school and be surrounded by queer people. Yeah, you know,
Right.
because I feel like that would be the most inspiring, you know, to be with other queer folks and to have that
Sure.
energy. Yeah. Um,
But you made
but yeah,
your own little residency at the hotel right now.
I did.
Yeah.
You know, I have my two studio assistants, my dogs.
Your dog.
Have not made any paintings of them. Um, but yeah, it has been really inspiring just to be somewhere else working and kind of
And you
problem
have all that
solve.
time.
Yeah, and like problem solving. I mean, I literally paint taped 6 by 14 foot giant sheets of this like heavyweight paper up all over the walls in the hotel. And then just put plastic down on the floors and just worked,
You're
you
you're
know?
living the life I dream of, I swear. It's
Yeah, I
so
mean,
great. You're so talented. I just have to say it
oh,
over and over. And
thank
I
you
love
so
so
much.
much that you wanted to collaborate with us.
Yeah, of
And
course.
thank you. I just want to say thank you because I think
Yeah.
these shirts are awesome.
And thank you so much for always thinking of me. That's really important, to support. I mean, I have people that collect my work, and some of them are dear friends, and it's just nice to know that your work is going to a good home. And it might be weird to say, but I've sold paintings and missed them, and I've worked really hard in
I
designs,
can
and
see
and
that.
yeah, and it's like, oh man, it's just out there somewhere. But knowing that it's knowing, where it's going, and I get so stoked thinking about the people that are going to wear these shirts and
I know.
how they feel. And like, I think everyone, well, I don't know if everyone feels this way, but having Pride be different this year, which I know, I believe in everyone out there that we're going to creatively have something amazing happen. Um,
Well, how are you going to spend it? What are you going to do?
it's interesting because in Texas, so I was in New York last year for Pride, and
Me too.
yeah, and it was the first time I was in New York for Pride in like 10 years, and since I moved. And it was just really crazy to be back in the energy, and I was working on a festival there that was super fun and super just it was awesome. It was cool to see. It was my second year working on it, and it was cool to go and see the work in person. And um, Texas and Austin, our Pride isn't until August, which is like the hottest month.
Right.
Like, why
Thanks
did
for that
we just
pick. Yeah.
say no, not June like everyone else? So I plan to hopefully. I'm supposed to be showing in August here.
Okay.
Um, and I'm
You want to
hoping
say
that
where in case anybody from
ye
Austin is?
yeah, so the show is going to be at Preacher Gallery. If you live in Austin, you probably know. And about the space, it's really beautiful. It's downtown. Um, and so the dates are kind of TBD right now, as everything is. So that's what I planned on doing here. I plan on participating any way I can in June. Hopefully, seeing a lot of live streaming
I
happening.
know. I'm like, should I decorate my bed with streamers and glitter and like, wave to my
Yeah,
dog? I'm not sure what to do.
right. I was thinking about like a float, or just yeah, because I've been doing a lot of birthday like drive-by birthdays for people
Yeah.
during this time, and I'm gonna be doing one later this week, and it's almost like a parade. I mean, I feel
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, making my car into a float or my bed into a float.
Hey.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like a lot of people would watch you wave to your dog on
I don't
on
know.
any platform. Pretty sure.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But yeah, that's what I think I'm gonna do is just try and support as many people that I can. I know a lot of DJs are taking donations for their time via, they've set up different accounts. I know that's a great way to support people that
Right.
are not making money right now. I know that they're like the music community is really struggling. So that's like a big one. I think I'm gonna try and do that is tune in and yeah. So dance along.
Yes. Always
Yes,
Dan.
totally.
Well, do you want to tell people where they can find your work or you or any of that?
Yeah, so I'm mostly using Instagram these days. I do have a website. It's just my name. Um, but the most updated or I guess maintained is my Instagram. And I try and post, projects that I'm working on or other things that I'm excited about on there. So
Good.
yeah, that's the best method
Well,
for
I
now.
love you so much. And I really
Yeah, I love you
want to
too.
thank you again for doing this collaboration. Whoever wants
Absolutely.
to check out the shirts, they're on vintagegay.com.
Yeah.
And 15% goes to the ACLU, so it's going to a great cause. And I just, Yeah, I just want people to go check it out because I think they're amazing. And I'm personally excited to wear each and every one of them all summer.
Totally.
Very
Can I
much.
shout out one thing before I go?
Anything you want.
So I'm involved, I'm on the board at Out Youth here in Austin. It's the oldest queer organization in Texas, serving our youth and our community. So if you have any time to stop by outyouth.org, I would check them out. They're doing some really great stuff here in town, and especially during this time, they've set up pretty much overnight a way to continue to provide therapy services and troubleshoot other instances of kids being home or in unsafe environments. So
Amazing.
that's yeah, it's just they're doing really good work here. So
Great.
yeah, but yeah, that's it for me, I think, on shout outs. But
Okay, I'm just that's your shout out.
shouting out myself. Um, but yeah,
Well,
thanks
thank you
again for
again.
yeah, and thanks for thinking of me too. It's really
Always.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
I will never forget about you because you're
Uh,
incredible.
same.
Well, take care, be safe,
All right.
and I might
Cool.
see you in person soon.
All right. I hope
Thanks
so.
everyone for
Yeah.
watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Mhm.